Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you guys so much for joining us for Paranormal Frequencies. Sherry, tell us about our wonderful guest this evening.
Okay, y'all are going to be so excited. The first thing I wanted to say was I have on this bindi tonight for Jean, so she'll know why. Okay, and this tonight we have Connie and Barry Strohm. And the first time that I heard them was on Cisco's show, and I just fell in love with them. And there's this weird thing that whenever I listen to them or talk about them or anything like that, like makes me get tears in my eyes. So I just know that we're supposed to talk to them, and I'm so excited. And I finally got them here, so here we go.
Welcome, you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, it's nice to be here.
So let's start with your book, the most recent work that you have out. Can you tell us about that? That'll give us the audience a little idea of what kind of stuff you do.
Okay, well, basically what Connie and I do is talk to spirits. Mm-hmm. We channel all kinds of spirits. It started out as a normal paranormal thing, taking pictures on the battlefield of Gettysburg. Found out we could talk with them, have chats. And everything has progressed, and we find now we are channeling with some of the most holiest spirits from the other side. And my last book that's came out a couple months ago, it's called Spirit Speak, Channeling the Life of Jesus. And you're not going to go much higher than that.
No, we're big Jesus fans here.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But the amazing thing about the life of Jesus is there's a lot of things that have been distorted in the Gospels about him. I mean, we did an awful lot of research writing this book, mm-hmm. and it's actually, you'll see his actual words in it. We have chapters dedicated to his birth, we have his crucifixion, and we have a whole chapter dedicated to his married life.
Very nice. Oh,
thought that'd wake you up.
Right. Well, I've heard the rumors. Of course, there are rumors that go around. And, it's funny that even, with reading the Bible myself, I discover distortions. You don't even need to go outside the Bible to see what Jesus said and then sort of what the religious leaders do, like anything from calling them Father to, praying to them instead of the real Father, the Heavenly Father, right? And just so much about doctrine that, really never came out of Jesus' mouth. So it's like you've actually discovered that and had him clear things up through the talk.
Well, the reality is no one knows what Jesus spoke. There was nobody taking notes. There were no tape recorders. And everything, the earliest writings go to about 70 A.D., which is 2 generations after his passing. So,
which means there's a lot of word of mouth in there before it got on.
No, it's 100% word of mouth.
Right.
Because no one took notes, and when Jesus taught, he spoke to the multitudes, the uneducated and the poor. And if you look at the Gospels are so complicated, they still argue about what they mean today. If Jesus had spoke with that degree of complexity, they'd have thrown rocks at him. No one would have paid attention. No one could have understood him. Right. He spoke very, very simple messages of love, getting along, living a good life, very, very uncomplicated teachings. But actually, the book that's out now is the first of a 3-volume series. The second volume will be of his messages. It's finished. It's at the publisher, and in that book, we dedicate chapters to many of the spirits. We start with the chapter with Moses. where Moses tells about what really took place, not wandering 40 years in the desert and all that crazy stuff. But he tells the true story of the Israelites. We have a chapter dedicated where we channel John the Baptist. We do we do Matthew, Peter, a bunch of the holiest saints. We have a chapter with Mary Magdalene. She's got a great story. And he does not wind up marrying her. I'll just throw that out there.
Spoiler alert.
Yes. Also,
he gets married, but it wasn't Mary Magdalene.
It wasn't Mary.
Yeah, and also she was not a prostitute.
And,
she had an illness that Jesus cured.
Yeah, she had epilepsy.
Oh, wow.
And Jesus cures her, and she actually becomes one of the most trusted of the disciples. And Mary is actually, for 1,000 years, Mary is worshipped. And then by about the year 1000, priests were married in those days too. So the women start to get a lot of power in the Catholic Church. So all of a sudden, Mary Magdalene becomes a prostitute because they're trying to lower the powers of women in the Gospels. So that whole story is all created. And she's quite upset about it. She's not, When we channel with her, she's quite upset about the fact that they distorted her story.
Mm-hmm. Well, the work that you do, are you finding that there is this reemergence of the divine feminine, like a balancing taking place where the female role is going to become more prominent instead of taking a back seat like it has forever?
Yeah.
Oh,
The fact is that there's no such thing as male or female, the soul. Our souls are all the same. It's just if that soul gets put into a male body or a female body. Mm-hmm. Jesus very much feels that we are all equal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and actually,
I'm just meaning like the new earth that people sort of expect us to move into something newer. What's your view on ascension or rapture or this sort of evolutionary shift?
Revelations was totally made up. Mm-hmm. There's nothing in Revelations that's the Word of God. Mm-hmm. So Jesus, when God returned, Jesus was God incarnate. He was not the Son of God, but he was actually God. When Jesus walks the earth, God was on earth with us. Just the same as God has, he's the God of all of our galaxy. Mm-hmm. So he's been on all the intelligent planets in our galaxy. So when Jesus is not going to return, God may return, but not in the form of Jesus. Mm-hmm. And he tells us that if man destroys himself, it will be from the free will of man himself. Right. God put humans on earth to evolve, and he gave us free will and egos. And then he did this intentionally as a test to see how humans would use their free will and egos. And right now we're at a very critical time in our evolution. And that is really why he's coming back with these messages and why he wants us to write these books and stuff. Yeah. Because people need to revert back to getting along.
Yeah, they're not doing very good with the free will and the egos, are they?
No, they not at all.
They're kind of on their own track right. with it. But he's very emphatic. So the free will has given you weapons of mass destruction. You now have the ability to totally wipe out the human race. Mm-hmm. So, and that's your decision to do. So if humans make the decision to wipe themselves out, then so be it. Because you got to understand, there have been many, many other cultures that have wiped themselves out through the millions and billions of years on other planets.
It's almost like the technology outgrows the spiritual growth, and then that imbalance in there creates a volatile situation. Because now you got the power to destroy yourself, but not the love to realize what you're even doing, right?
Right.
Well spoken. That pretty much sums it up where we are. So the humans are at a very critical time in their evolution. Mm-hmm. I mean, they got the choice to make. You can show love towards others and receive love. Mm-hmm. You can drive hatred out, and if you don't, it's going to destroy you. So it's really pretty simple. But he's been very emphatic about the fact that he will not be the one that destroys the human race.
Right. Yeah, I can totally agree with that. He doesn't need to.
Oh,
Like
no,
always on the
we're
verge
capable of doing it ourselves.
Absolutely. Well, I know, of course, you're a big fan of Michael Jackson, Sherry.
Mm-hmm.
And so we wanted to talk a little bit about your channelings with Michael Jackson. How did that first come about?
We were doing a call-in show, and person calls in and he says, can you channel Michael Jackson? So I'm saying, damned if I know. So we give it a shot, and I asked for him, and all of a sudden I hear, yes, can I help you? So we have Michael Jackson here. So we let the person on the call in ask the questions, and I gave him the answers. And then since that's taken place, we've been with him several other times where we've gotten more details. But no, we've been with him probably 3 or 4 times, and he's available. Michael will show up whenever we ask for him.
What kind of feeling do you get with Michael Jackson? Do you get a feeling when you channel, or like, you know, the sort of different personalities that you feel with the energy, or how does that work for you?
Yeah, when you're with Jesus, with Mary, you have an energy that I cannot describe. I mean, generally it kicks off with Connie starting to cry because it's
tear up very quickly.
It's very, very emotional. The first time Jesus ever came through, we were both in tears.
Yeah.
I mean, now, you know, after doing probably 100 hours with him, yes, we still feel the energy, and it's still overwhelming to know what we're really doing. But and then we can often tell you get a negative feeling if somebody's trying to do an impersonation or come through for somebody, and you'll get an idea whether you're getting the truth or not. So
now that you've been with Jesus so many times, though, it becomes way easier, I guess, to discern whether, like, this isn't Jesus at this point. If someone's trying to impersonate him, something like that, you recognize the energy, right?
Yes, one time we did have someone try to impersonate him. And the thing they started out with, we said, you know, who was with us? And that's back when we were still using the channeling board. And it spelled out Jesus. But then it spells out new rules. And we said, we don't think this is Jesus. Who is this? And then that soul spelled out their name. And we said, look, you're trying to go against what Jesus wants. So we don't want anything to do with you. Leave. Mm-hmm. You know, took a while, but we finally got rid of that spirit.
Yeah, but you can feel the energy changes and differences. We've done this enough now that we're getting a lot harder to fool.
Right. Well, I'd experienced Michael Jackson. It was a very childlike, gentle, loving, playful sort of energy when I experienced, and I was just kind of curious if that's kind of what you felt with him as well.
Yeah, that kind of sums it up. We didn't feel there was nothing. We didn't feel anything harmful there or anything with him. He's just
a very gentle soul for me. It's always been a really loving, gentle spirit. You know, very gentle is all I can say.
Yeah, and he talked about things that he did in his life that he knew he shouldn't have done. And,
which we all do.
Yeah,
it's part of being human.
Right.
But no, it was a good interview. We did a big interview with Robin Williams. We've been doing a lot of suicide prevention stuff with our interviews. Mm-hmm. So we did an interview with Robin Williams and one with Marilyn Monroe. And we have them posted on my YouTube channel, so anybody can go in and hear them. Mm-hmm. But we did it with the idea of suicide prevention. Mm-hmm. And
did she really kill herself?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know there's always conspiracies surrounding stuff. So
there's always conspiracy. But no, she took she was so totally addicted that she OD'd.
Mm-hmm. Was it an accident or on purpose?
No, she knew what she was doing. Mm-hmm. She knew what she was doing.
She had a lot to deal with that nobody realized.
Yeah.
She did not have a pleasant life, especially when she was younger.
Yeah.
So it's very sad what she went through.
Yeah, my YouTube channel is under my name, Barry Strohm. It's all free. Anybody's welcome to go in and listen to these interviews. We have over 70 videos posted right now.
Very nice. And for those coming in late, I do have that link below the video in the description box. You can click right over to the YouTube channel or to their website. Yeah. They can pick up your book through the website?
Through the website, so you can get signed copies. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, they're everywhere.
Okay.
Wasn't Marilyn Monroe? She was like an orphan, wasn't she? When she was young, or
Oh yeah, yeah. She had a terrible childhood. She was abused as a child, sexual abuse, the whole thing.
She ended up being in a foster home.
Yeah, many foster homes. She winds up getting married at 16 to get out of the foster homes. That marriage doesn't work out. And she just gets totally messed up in her life, and very, very unhappy person. But those two interviews in particular are very, very interesting. The last one we posted was with Constantine the Great. And he tells us what actually goes into the selection of the Gospels at Nicaea. And I totally misunderstood Constantine's role. Actually, he was the first Christian emperor of the Roman Empire. And he's the one that ends the crucifixions and the persecutions. And they actually begins a lot of the wonderful churches. His mother plays a big role. She starts the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. But in that interview, he tells us about how he does the selection. And then it's after he selects them that most of the changes are being made. So it's a lot of really interesting interviews. What we do, I mean, everybody says that we can be full of crap in what we do, but we post everything. So we hide nothing. We put the videos up, they're unedited, you can watch them and make up your own mind. Because we're truly channeling with some of the most incredible spirits out there. And he's given us proof that we're talking to him. He's actually given me the ability to do some healing. He's given me a special prayer that I say. It directs God's energy. It's not me doing the healing, but he's showed me how to direct healing towards others. And he created a miracle on me. I had a heart attack, and he totally cured it. So we had an absolute medical miracle that he did just to prove that we really were talking to the real guy.
And he had the doctor scratching his head.
I bet.
He knew what happened. I took him to the hospital, and they did every test on it they do any cardiac patient, and then some. Kept him overnight. The next morning, they said they needed to do what is that called?
Echocardiogram?
No, they did all that.
Oh, they did that.
Oh, yeah.
They said they needed to go in and put stents in because he had heart damage. And they showed him on the x-rays or whatever they were, the damage. But by the time they got in there, they didn't get in until 7:30 that night because there's an emergency came in ahead of him. They couldn't find the damage. And the doctor came out to me and he said, "There's no stents. We have no idea what happened. It could happen again. We just don't know. We don't know anything." And in the meantime, Barry had a little experience after the almost surgery, and I'll let him tell you about that.
Yeah, after the surgery was over, I was laying in recovery, and in my head I hear just as clear as can be, "If I can have you heal others, I can heal you as well." And that was kind of the coup de grace for the end of it. But we were talking about third eye observations before we came on the show.
Right.
When I was waiting to go into the surgery, I was laying there with my eyes closed. And through my third eye, I can see this white figure with wings flopping. And this comes up, and all of a sudden I realize here comes an angel. And I'm watching all this in my mind, and it comes up right in front of my nose, flops its wings, and flies away. And that was when I was healed.
Oh, wow.
That's so cool.
Now, did you get any sensations were you covered with chills like that happens sometimes when you get, an enlightening moment or anything? Did you have anything to accompany the healing at all?
No.
So you didn't even realize it then?
I didn't even realize it. Hey, believe me, I'd have stopped the whole damn procedure if I'd have known what had taken place.
Right. That's amazing. So how big was this angel that flew up?
It was relatively small. I've seen full-size angels, and I've actually photographed 6 different ones.
Right. Well, I've
So,
heard people say there really is fairy-size angels, and there's really human-size angels, and I don't know.
well, I've seen small angels. Now I've photographed probably 100 fairies
Oh wow,
because
we
when
got to
I
see them. We got to do a whole show on the elementals. As we
Yeah.
call them.
I
We're gonna have to
actually
have you come on once a month.
I actually have on my spiritspredict.com site, you can go in and see fairy pictures that I have posted on there.
Very nice. So yeah, I need to go check that out. I do have that link below as well, you guys.
Yeah, we got wordsofgodthenandnow.com and Spirits Predict are our two sites. But I have a ton of information on all the sites. A lot of I put the fairy photography up. I put the angel photos up so you can go in and see them. But no, I woke up in the middle of the night, opened my eyes, and here's this big, full-blown, full-colored angel looking down at me. And I went, uh-oh. And it just left. But
Right.
no, we got another really neat angel story. We were channeling, and we were told, I said, what do angels do? And the guide comes back and it says, angels carry your prayers to the Lord. Okay, we'll go along with that. 2 nights later, we're asleep here in Pennsylvania in our apartment, and I had to go make one of my 3 o'clock runs, like us old folks do. Came back, and I'm laying in the bed, and I'm having trouble falling asleep, and I roll over, and an angel flies across the foot of the bed. And I said, Connie, I just saw an angel. And she said, I just finished my prayers.
Oh wow.
Wow.
They did that 2 days after they told us about it. So.
Oh wow. Yeah. I've heard they're messengers, but I always thought of them as carrying messages from God to us, not carrying our prayers back. But I guess.
Well, they can do that too.
Yeah,
I think they
guess
go
it's
both ways.
Yeah. Never thought of it that way.
Yeah, it's like a heavenly FedEx.
Yeah.
And I've dreamed that I've seen like 2 of them, like with people helping. Well, I guess a soul, like an orb, like carrying it somewhere, taking them somewhere.
I have a picture that I took on the Gettysburg battlefield where the angel is lifting a soldier off the battlefield.
Oh, that's so cool.
And what I think happens is the angels actually assist them in moving ahead and stopping them from being, they're earthbound over there, the soldiers are. And I think the angels kind of say, okay, dude, it's time to move on. But I actually have a picture where you can see the ghost soldier in its hands.
Wow. Like, I know I'm not all familiar with all of y'all's books, but I promise that I will be, because it's so interesting. But I was wondering, what is your take on, or have you ever had any contact with Edgar Casey?
No, that's one we haven't tried yet. I have him on my list for our Speaking to Spirit series. So
good.
When you're doing one a week, you go through a lot of people in a period of time.
Yeah, I just feel a real connection to him, and I've had a few little experiences, with him. So I just think he's a really, really good guy.
Yeah, we've done Houdini, Tesla, a whole bunch of Lincoln.
Yeah, that's cool.
We really mix up. We really try to mix up the personalities that we do the interviews with.
Yeah. You may feel that connection because you may have lived together in prior lives.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I do. I've always felt really connected to him. In fact, when I went to the ARE, when I walked in the door, I started crying, and this woman comes up to me, and I'm crying hard. It wasn't just teared up. And she was like, "It's okay." She says, and she gives me a Kleenex. She's like, "I promise you, that just means that you really are supposed to be here right now." And I was like, "Yeah, it's been a long time coming." So, yeah, I got to go.
You'll find out that almost everything is prearranged in your life. I mean, we are blown away sometimes how things happen. They'll bring people into the store here that the Spirit wants me to open the channel and give them a message.
Oh, here comes my story.
But it's you'll be amazed just how detailed your life plan is that you have before you come in.
So how much of it do you think is, set in stone? Do you think, it's sort of, we're given a guide, but we're given some leeway in there?
Yeah, you can screw your whole thing up.
Yeah, it's our free will
Right.
can mess with our plan, and our egos can mess with our plan.
Yeah, I'll give you a great example. Hitler was actually a master guide that they sent back to try to save Germany.
Whoops.
Uh-huh. And you saw how that worked out.
Right.
And then I asked them, I said, well, why didn't you do something and change it? And they said, well, once you're back, you're free to do what you can do because you're going to be judged by it.
Ugh.
So,
That would suck.
yeah, needless to say, we won't be able to contact him for quite a while.
Yeah, I guess he's probably pretty busy on the other side. Huh?
Well, there's a lower realm over there.
Lots of review.
Yeah, that's like one day I asked Jesus, I said, what happened to the Pharisees that had you killed? And he said, well, we sent them to the lower level. And I said, well, have they come out yet? And he said, no. So that's over 2,000 years they've been down there. And I said, when will they be allowed to come out? He said, when God says so. And then when they come out, they got to pay this karma in their future lives, and they start over. There's 7 realms in heaven. And with each lifetime, you educate, your soul educates and learns, and it tries to move ahead. So you've literally lived millions of lifetimes because your soul energy has been around since the inception of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to ask yourself, where was your soul energy before humans walked the earth? Humans have been here for roughly 250,000 years. Universe is over 13 billion years old. So that soul energy has been banging around somewhere. Mm-hmm. Well, the answer is it's been on other planets, and we've all of us have lived prior lives on other planets because it's been part of the educational process.
Didn't a lot of us come from Mars before Earth and spent a bunch of lives there? Or is that?
Well, there was life on. That's quite possible because there was life previously on Mars, mm-hmm. and they lost their atmosphere. Right. But just like all planets die. I mean, Earth, one of these days, the sun will burn out. And the whole idea with humans we're supposed to evolve to the point that we can travel the stars and find another planet to live on when our planet goes bad. Mm-hmm. So that's all, and I mean, through the ages, aliens have helped us advance.
Right.
My 2 alien books we wrote from channeling aliens. Mm-hmm. And, when I asked the question, I said, how is it that I can channel an alien? Well, the answer is they have the soul energy that we do because we're one and the same.
Right.
So it's, but we channeled an alien for about 3 years to write the 2 alien books.
So are you finding that you're hearing the same thing from these aliens that they've reached a point that they can't really even give us any more technology because we'll misuse it?
No, they're still, they'll feed it to us. They gave us the atom bomb and the H bomb because they knew that they had to give us the A bomb to end World War II because they were aware that the Germans were working on a similar weapon.
Right.
So
it's the worst of 2 evils, then. Or...
Yeah. Because there was a wreck in Bavaria in 1938, and the aliens actually worked with the Germans for about 9 months over there until they realized what was going on. Von Braun actually went for a ride on a rocket ship on one of their ships.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the SS actually arrested Braun because he was spending too much time working on interplanetary rockets than he was on working on weapons.
Oh.
So it's a lot of really interesting stuff.
Yeah, he's reaching for the stars, I guess. Huh?
Yes, he was.
Yeah. They also have helped other ways, like they helped Dr. Salk come up with the Salk vaccine for polio.
Oh. Now, you mentioned Nikola Tesla? Because I've heard they helped him a lot, but I also heard that they swept in and took the research and misused it. I don't know how much of that you were able to, make sense of by talking to him.
Well, Tesla was an absolute brilliant person. His big problem was Edison.
Right.
Edison's the one that really worked him over and stole his stuff.
So he was more concerned about the making the money out of it than free energy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Tesla. If Tesla would have had his way, we would have free energy now. And that wasn't going to work because there was too much money to be made.
Can you imagine where we'd be right now, though, if we've had 50 years of free energy? Think of how much time we've wasted on energy in the last 5 decades. You know what I mean?
Oh, and we're wasting now.
And then and the lives, and then the pollution. I mean, it's just on and on. You think about it, and it snowballs in thought. You're like, man, everything's connected to energy, and how much we've been held back. I mean, if you think about how far computers have come in even a decade or two, and then you think of how far cars have come in 100 years, a whole century, they really haven't come all that far, to be honest. I mean, they look a lot different, but the engine, a lot of the components have been computerized. That part of it's been updated, but the basic engine works the same way as it has,
Yeah, we have some major things to do before we can travel the stars.
Yeah.
Because with our current technology, to travel to our nearest star would take 42,000 years. Now, I asked, the alien I channeled name was Mu, and his planet was called Robe, R-O-B-B-E, and that was actually on one of the far wings of our Milky Way. And I said, how long does it take you to get here when you travel to Earth? And he said, 2 days.
Wow.
So let's just say their technology is a little more advanced than ours is. I mean, when somebody tells me that they're afraid of the aliens, what are they going to do? Well, the answer is, if they wanted our butts to be dead, we'd be gone.
That's how I feel too. Yeah.
They
Once
have
you reach that level of.
They have such incredible technology.
Yeah, they could zap us right out, couldn't they?
Oh my God, yes. I mean, it wouldn't even be a challenge. It'd be like snapping their fingers.
Yeah, I heard they could send the exact frequency that we operate on and just zap us right out, and without even causing collateral damage. Because everything has a frequency range.
But
they don't even understand all of that yet.
Well, they travel by molecular teleportation. It's a lot like the concept of beam me up, Scotty.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they do it. They can travel wormholes. They can do a lot of things. I write about all this in my that Mu actually described what it was like to travel in a wormhole.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he says it's like driving through a blizzard in color. But
awesome.
Yeah, he told us a ton of stuff. We did, like he told us what the Nazca lines in Peru stood for.
Oh, you got to tell us that one. Can you give us
Well, I'll give you one to think about. Okay. Are you familiar with the big spider form down there?
Yeah.
Well, that was the shape of the aliens that were helping. They were spider people. And I said, Mu, how tall were these guys? And he said, they stood 6-7 foot.
Oh, wow.
So they were being assisted by 7-foot spiders.
I've heard other people talk about that.
Did you?
That huge spiders, like interactions with them and stuff.
I've heard about insect races of all sorts that are big like us,
Well,
and reptilians.
Yeah, he was telling us about, they have this big base ship that they use. And I said, well, how big is that thing? And he said, well, it's about the size of the United States. I said, okay. I said, how many different alien types would be on a ship like that? And he said over 250.
Wow.
So that gives you a little bit of a hint about how little we really know about what's happening out there.
Yeah, think of like Star Trek or one of those shows and all the different varieties, and they never have quite that many, maybe a dozen or so.
No, but what he also...
One quick question while we're here is,
Sure.
How do you spell the Mu character? Is it M-U or M-O-O? Or
M-O-U.
M-O-U.
M-O-U, okay.
It's actually
someone
his
asked in the
nickname.
chat.
His name is Mutois, but he told us to call him Mu. And Mu was a blue.
Yeah, he's a blue alien.
And one of our fans over in England who follows all of our work got himself a blue car and named it Mu. So Mu's got a fan club.
Oh,
well, where's Mu
cool.
from? Vega or one of the blue people?
No, Rope. His last
Rope.
Yeah, on Rope.
It's on the outer edge of the Milky Way.
Okay.
There's many types that we never even heard of. I mean, a lot of our interaction actually comes from a race called Tulans.
Tulans, I never even heard of them.
Yeah.
They're from the Milky Way?
Yeah. See, each galaxy has its own god.
Oh, really? So, like, the Andromedans have their own?
Yeah, their own god. Mm-hmm.
And does that get back to what we think of as the logos, like we hear about?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, I heard each of the, I guess, it sort of breaks off sort of like a fractal. So, you got the center of the galaxy, and then each of the solar systems has like a minor logos. So it's just the way of looking at it in a sort of a fractally pattern,
Yeah, but what they tell us is that each galaxy has its own god, and each god has different rules. And when I asked to explain some of those rules, they say you're incapable of understanding them. So, and that's how that conversation ends.
What's the purpose of having rules we can't understand, right?
Well, those rules aren't for us. They're for other galaxies.
Well, let me ask you this. Is it as far as, even the laws, like we think of like the gravity would be different in that one? Like this God said the gravity is going to be this on Earth and that, and just the laws of physics as well. Are they different on the different galaxies by the different gods, or do you know?
I think that there's so much we don't know.
Yeah. So it could be completely different where we don't even, we wouldn't recognize anything if we saw it. It's like, what is this I'm seeing?
No, that's what they keep telling me. They tried to explain different things, and they said it's beyond, no human is capable of understanding this because you're thinking about an emotion that you've never experienced. You have to think a thought that you've never thought.
And you need a reference that you don't have to think of things.
That's correct. All the references are things that you are totally unfamiliar with.
Right. That's amazing. So it's almost like a newborn when they open their eyes and all they see is colors and light, and they have no idea they're looking at mom's face or a plant or whatever they're looking at.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Hadn't thought about it that way. That's interesting, Shane.
He's a good thinker.
I can tell that.
But no, it's an amazing universe out there. I'll give you something else to think about. What happens before our universe was created?
Before the supposed Big Bang?
Yeah. There was another universe.
Right. Completely different from this one.
Yeah. All the gods got together and they decided that structure of that universe was incapable of doing what they needed to do.
Right.
So I asked him to describe the Big Bang for us. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, all the gods got together and combined their energies. Mm. And that's how it takes, and that's where the energy comes from.
Mm-hmm. Now, these gods, do they answer to someone above them, or are they?
There's actually a hierarchy of gods.
Oh, okay.
Everything's organized. Like there's everyone in our all the different types in our universe get along. They learned long ago that mutual destruction, with the capabilities that they have, are futile.
Right.
And so they actually got an agreement, and the galaxy is actually governed.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So now what do we have when you have two galaxies sort of coalescing, or they say that we're on a collision course with Andromeda? Are these gods going to be hanging out or fighting, or is one going to go start his own and one take over the rest? Or
I never really got into that.
I guess it's a question maybe to ask.
The gods are
the
all
third alien book.
Yeah, Moo's moved on, so I'm kind of tapped out. He told us when he first came in that we'd have him for 2 to 3 years.
Oh, okay.
That he wanted to write 2 books. And now he's moved on. He's back on another planet on a mission.
Now, do you ever get to hear from him? It seems like that'd be sort of sad that he's moved on and never to return again, or?
Yeah, it is. We've tried to contact him, but he's gone.
Yeah, you'd think he'd at least visit every, I don't know, half decade or decade or something. You know?
Yeah, especially since he told me that he was my big brother in a prior life. I think he dropped in and see his kid sister.
Right.
Those spirits seem to be pretty specific, though, when they're, when they intend to, write a book or something or give information, they're like, it's this many books. And sometimes they'll even say how they want the cover to look and things like that.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I had Moo proofread the 2 books before we sent them to the publisher. I said, is there anything? He said, yeah, you have a couple chapters where you have problems, and he gave me the chapter numbers, and he said you're not editing them properly. So I actually went back and did the editing that he told me to do in it. And after I finished the editing, I said, okay, now are they okay? He said, yeah, now it's ready to go. It'll be a lot clearer.
You gotta get final approval from Moo.
Yeah, and he was right. Those endings did need to be changed.
Wow.
That's
He had
amazing.
told Barry in the beginning that when you're writing, if I don't approve of what you're writing, if you're making a mistake, I will either make your eyes blurry or make your nose itch to let you know. And that actually happened a few times.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was cool.
You gotta communicate somehow.
Yeah, no, he was good at it. We were getting ready to go down to see our kids in Florida, and he said, "You're going on a." He said, "Forget about everything. Just go relax. Forget about what you're doing. Enjoy your trip." And he said, "Take Connie out for a nice dinner, and tell her how pretty she looks." So we started on the trip, and we pulled into this nice restaurant, and we're having dinner down there. And all of a sudden, my nose starts to itch. And I looked at her and I said, "Connie, you look very pretty tonight."
And Connie said, "Thank you, Moo."
And my nose stopped itching.
Gonna keep you in line, huh?
I love that.
Yeah, no, we lead fairly strange lives.
It's fun though. I mean, like, I know my experiences are a little different than that, but I don't know what that is. That's not me.
No, that was not.
No, I thought
It's
I had
okay. It's a nice little ding.
Hey, it's
We-
a happy sound. I like
Yeah.
I thought I had the volume turned way down.
You
I
did,
guess,
but it was vibrate. You had it laid on the table and it vibrates. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just always tell people, at least my life is not boring. Because I
No.
always have some kind of little interaction with something going on.
Oh,
You
to
know?
say the least, our life is not boring.
No, it's so neat. I feel sorry for the non-believers.
Mm.
I mean, I understand it because what we've found out are things that go against what we've learned in science, that they can't explain it with our science. But it's just such a neat experience. We're blessed.
Definitely.
No, I didn't even believe in ghosts till I was about 60 years old.
Wow.
So
cool.
we've come a long way.
Definitely, yeah. I was, I was raised religious, but then I completely went left brain, and then I don't know. It's like in the last few years, I've had a flood of supernatural and paranormal things happening. I mean, we're even doing a paranormal show because I know it's real now, But it's one of those things you kind of have to experience. Somebody can't just tell you because you won't believe it until you see it, and even then, you have the whole cognitive dissonance thing at first.
Yeah,
Where
exactly.
you can't believe what you saw, and you're sitting there and you're like, did I really? Just a few days ago, I saw the reflection of a kid ride by on a bike in the storefront, but there was no kid in front. So it's like I was seeing the reflection of another dimension or something. And I'm like looking at it, and I'm looking behind me, looking around. It's just like how much of that kind of stuff happens all the time. We don't even notice it,
Yeah, exactly.
Exciting
So
times. Huh?
interesting.
Is there anything else with the Michael Jackson you wanted to know, though, Sherry? I'm sorry I keep moving away from that, but.
No. I was just gonna have Barry see if Michael Jackson might have had a message, for us or our group or anything,
Yeah, that's
But-
cool.
But I wanted, yeah.
You want me to try a channel with him?
That'd
Yeah.
be cool. Yeah, can we do it?
Yeah.
And
live?
if it doesn't work, it's okay. But that'd be really cool.
We also want to leave
probably
time for that
knows that you-
story that, we don't want to forget about. She wanted you guys to share a story, too, so we don't want to forget about that either. I don't know if you wanted to do that
Yeah.
first.
It's up to you.
Okay.
What do you
Mike,
have to do to prepare
Michael's-
to channel? Do you have to?
he's here if you want to
He's
talk
here.
to him.
He probably has been here because he knew Sherry wanted to talk to him.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's talk to the
They knew everything.
Can't leave the king of pop waiting.
Well, ask a question of him.
Sherry, it's all you.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll ask him. First off, I just want to tell him thank you for all of the experiences that I've had, and I'd like to know about the night that I had interaction with him, and he was telling me to buy a book, and he made me type it in the computer, and I was like, buy your own book, and the book was titled I Am That I Am, and then he said that I wrote it, and I was just wondering what message he was trying to give me in that.
He's saying, Sherry, I've always appreciated the fact that you were a fan of mine. And I thought that if I contacted you and told you about the book, that it would make you even more appreciative of the fact that my spirit presence has been near you. Just know that I actually do check on you. And I realized when I heard that you were going to have this show tonight that I would get the opportunity to speak with you. So, is there anything else that you would like to ask me?
Shane, you have anything to ask him?
No,
Oh.
I don't have any questions for him.
You don't? Nothing? Right there?
Okay, well then I'm going to leave you, but just know that if you think of some questions, ask Barry, and I can come through for him and answer them. So
Yeah, I should have made a list.
Have a good night,
Okay.
and thank you for letting me speak on your show. I
Yes.
always enjoy being able to speak to the people.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael
Okay.
Jackson.
Thank you, Michael
Thank-
Jackson.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared, like for that. I didn't know I'd have a list.
I
You
told
know
you
how
it was going to be
y'all-
a freewheeling show that we do whatever you wanted.
I know, but you know how that is when you like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You draw a blank when it happens.
Yeah, you get face to face with God, and you're like, I don't have any questions. I'm sorry.
Well, we always tell people to write down their questions if they're coming in.
I need to do that next time. You know what I should have did? I should have turned it over to the chat room because they would have. They could have took care of that. But anyway, so can y'all tell a story about the painting in your antique store?
Okay. You want to tell it?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, perfect segue to talk about your antique store, too.
Yes, we actually had one of the spirits here that was attached to an oil painting as a portrait. He sold that for us. He made a $1,250 sale for us. There was this gigantic portrait of this man whose name was Joseph. And any time that anybody would walk past who was sensitive, he would tell them that he did not like the music that we played here. But we kept playing it anyway. So one day, a lady comes to the front desk and she says, something's talking to me and I need to buy it, but I need someone to help me get it down. So Barry went back with her. She took him straight back to Joseph's portrait. And he looks at it and he says, how's this talking to you? Because, usually if someone sees something they really like, they say, oh, it's talking to me. She said, he told me he doesn't like the music you play here and he wants to go home with me. So, I guess that she either liked a different kind of music or she didn't like music at all. But anyway, he sold the item for us. And I guess he's very happy in his new home with no music.
That's awesome.
Spirit attachments are very real, especially when you're in the business we're in with antiques.
Oh, I bet. What's sort of the most interesting thing you've come across like that, entity attachments to an item?
Well, we had a mirror here that had a woman attachment to it. And we actually, in the beginning, we had while I was still learning what was going on, we were working with some paranormal groups, and they came in and they took this picture. And here we had one of the investigators standing in the mirror, and this full-blown apparition of a woman standing there looking over his shoulder. I mean, it's just like a portrait. We thought it was somebody in the group that was in the picture. So one day we sell this I was away doing an antique show. When I got back, I found out that somebody had bought this mirror. So they take it down in West Virginia where they live. About 6 months later, this guy comes in and he says, we've had some really terribly bad luck. I said, what happened? He said, our house burned down. And I went, uh-oh, because we knew the mirror and everything. He said the firemen came and they thought they had put the fire out. And they left and it started up again and the house burned to the ground. He said, but you know that mirror we bought here? When the firemen came, they carried that mirror out of the house. And that is the only piece of furniture that didn't burn.
What? Oh my God.
When the fireman came, the woman appears and asks if they would carry the mirror out for them.
Wow.
An apparition can be strong enough that people actually think they're talking to a living human.
Right.
And that's
so
evidently
they might
what
not have
happened
had
there.
any idea.
No, but this fireman carries the mirror out of the house where it was safe, and then the house burns down. They lose everything else but this mirror. That was the only thing that survived.
Oh my goodness. So any idea who the woman was or anything?
No. It was a Victorian mirror. It was probably done around 1890. You can actually go in. I have a page of ghost pictures on my websites, and you'll see the lady in the mirror, and you can actually go in and see her.
Oh, nice. I'm going to definitely have to go look through all those images.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff up on the website you can go in and play with.
And that's the spiritspredict.com, right?
Yeah, you can go there. And I think I put it over also on the Words of God site. There's a ton of stuff up.
I don't have that site. Is that?
Yeah, we have a site called wordsofgodthenandnow.com.
Okay.
And that's the name of our Facebook group. It's called Words of God Then and Now.
Okay. .com?
No, on Facebook, it's just Words of God Then and Now. Or the website is wordsofgodthenandnow.com. All smalls, all one word.
Okay.
There is someone in the chat named Jennifer Todd, and she wanted to know some things about orbs. I asked her to put her question. She just said,
taking a few videos in my house. I have orbs flying around like a light show. Thoughts?
Well, she needs to make sure it's not dust. But orbs are very, very real. We watch them every night on our security cameras here in the store. And in my first book, it was called Haunting and History of the Battle of Gettysburg. I have a page of orbs with the spirit faces in them. And I even have an orb with a dog's face in it.
Wow.
And that dog orb was taken at the exact spot on the battlefield where the 1st Maryland Confederate Regiment lost their mascot, the dog. So it's all their orbs are very, very real. But you got to be careful. You got to know what you're looking at.
Yeah, definitely. There is dust and there is orbs. I've
Yes. Yes. And I actually, in my first book, I have pictures of orbs transitioning in color in two different frames and all kinds of stuff with them.
Yeah.
But they're definitely real. And I've got some very, very vivid faces inside of them. And we have a portal downstairs here at the store. And I can go downstairs and I can actually hold my hand out and ask an orb to sit on my hand. And they'll actually follow commands down there. I've had them do loops for people so they could watch them and all kinds of stuff. So there's no doubt that real orbs are orbs.
Right. So you do a show. Is it a weekly show? Podcast, or where you do?
We just do guests. We're guests on a lot of different shows like this.
Oh, okay. Because you mentioned you had some videos that were coming out. Do you just put them out? Is there?
I put them on YouTube. Those I do on YouTube.
Is there a schedule to that, or?
I try to post my interviews with historic figures every Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
And then when I do some of the holy interviews, That's like we do one every 2 or 3 weeks. We did one with St. Paul about a month ago, and we just posted a new one with Jesus. Last week we did that. So
the Words of God Then and Now Facebook group, is that where people can make suggestions about who you might want to channel or what questions you might have for some of them?
yeah, well, they can come in. They have to join the group to get in there. They can send me a friend request on my personal page. And I also have a page called Speaking to Spirits, and that's what the name of the series is. So they got a lot of choices. It's a big world out there.
Yeah. And Barry, can you tell them about the show that you do like once a month where people can call in to? It's the one that you're a guest on regularly?
Yeah, we do.
Cisco or?
No, we do Michael Vera's show, Late Night in the Midlands.
Oh, yeah.
And we do it the first Wednesday of the month, and we take call-ins there, and basically we just answer people's questions for 2.5 hours.
That's very cool.
Yeah, we also do animal channeling. We can speak to animals.
It's so weird you said that because something had came up. My daughter had a cat that she was really close with, and she feels like he was, like a soulmate to her. And I just thought it would be really neat sometime to have y'all come on and have her see if she could say something, see what Gordo had to say to her.
Yeah.
Cats usually have a lot to say.
Oh yeah, cats have a ton to say. We lost our cat named Bodie about 15 years ago. So 4 or 5 years ago, we channeled with it while she was on the other side. And we asked her if she'd come back to us. So Bodie finally says, okay, I will return to you as a black kitten in 13 months. Within 1 week of that 13 months, this black kitten finds us. And and has the exact same personality but she had in prior life. She's Connie's cat through and through, and she was before, and she is this time.
I got a question from the twin flame. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say you actually have a soul family of animals too.
Oh yeah.
You'll have pets come back to you different times.
Yeah, this is the third time Bodhi's been with her in this life.
See, I never thought of that. With pet lives, you can shoot through real quick. You can do a dog, a cat, and go back to the same family over and over several times, probably, watch them grow up.
Yeah, Bodhi, the first time, well, we knew about the 2 lifetimes, obviously, because we still have her. She's only 3 years old now. But one night, Connie, we had the channeling board out. And Connie said, I have a feeling that the Bodhi was with me earlier. So, we had him on. And I said, Bodhi, were you ever with Connie before? And on the board, it spells out the word starlight. Spells it out on the board for us. And that was the name of Connie's pony when she was a kid.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
What an appropriate name, too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had a quick question for you guys.
Sure.
Let's see. This comes from the Twin Flame Divine Fire couple who says, can you ask Barry how people can tell if they have a portal in their home or on their property somewhere?
Put an infrared camera on the spot that they think the portal is and watch the camera.
Okay, so you'll start seeing some anomalous
activity. No, we have a permanent camera down there on the portal, and we watch them come in and out of the wall anytime you want to look at them.
Oh, wow.
The orbs everywhere.
It's an infrared camera, you said?
Yeah, to put an infrared on it and watch, you'll see.
Okay. So Rita, with your gaming camera, if you think you have a portal somewhere, aim it at it. Because she's got one of those motion sensors, so it'll take if it notices anything.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
We actually have a closet in our house like that. There was a lot of orbs in that room, and one time, I don't know why there was a recording on, but I was asking one of my son's friends, or I said, I think that there's a portal in that closet. I've just always had a feeling. But anyway, on the playback on this, you could hear a voice, and it whispered, and it said, "That's it. You're right." You could hear it plain as day. Yeah.
Do you guys get EVPs ever?
Oh, yeah. I was, in my prior life, I was a Confederate soldier that fought here at Gettysburg.
Oh, wow.
And I can take my ghost box over and speak to the soldiers that I fought with.
Wow.
I was a Confederate captain, and
Now-
I took a group of people out with me last year, walked up to the spot. I said, "Do you guys recognize me?" And over the ghost box, you could hear, "Yes, sir, Captain."
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
Oh,
Yeah,
we're
we
going to
have-
have to come visit you.
Well, we've got three videos on the YouTube channel where we talk to our cats. So you can actually go in and watch us communicate with them.
That's so cool.
Yeah, when we first got them, we were over here. We had guests coming in. We were using the channeling board.
Paying
We
customers.
were paying customers that we were channeling with. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the session, it spells out lap time. Our cats had come in and wanted us to come back because they wanted to sit in our laps.
They actually spelled out also, get yourselves home.
Yeah.
Wow.
We said, we're working. We'll be over as soon as we can.
And that was your live cats, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
No, we can talk to them either side of the veil.
Yeah.
Yep, I believe it. That's so cool.
Well, man, it's been such a pleasure having both of you on. Is there any events or anything that you want to promote that you got coming up, or anything you want to share with our audience?
The main thing right now is our latest book, Channeling the Life of Jesus. Anybody that has any interest, come over to the YouTube channel. It's my name, Barry Strohm. It's all free. As I say, we got like 75 videos up right now. And if you like what you see, please subscribe, because it's really hard getting subscribers.
Oh, it is, yeah. Especially when you talk about the things we talk about. You know,
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
found.
Oh, when you talk about things, religion like this, where it goes
Oh,
against
yeah.
the norm.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's we get a lot of bad stuff comes in.
Yeah, I always tell people we have to share each other, or people don't find us. But that's a good thing, because we have a great community of people that don't mind sharing. That, you know, we're all crazy together, if you will.
Yes,
You
we've
know?
been finding that out. It's
Well,
wonderful.
we may lead you onto the road of new craziness when you come in and see just what we really do talk to.
That's awesome. Well, we look forward to having you back, Sherry.
Yeah, and I'm really serious about it. Something makes me want to come visit y'all, so
Well, where
maybe
you
I
live?
will.
Well, we're in New Oxford, Penn. We're 8 miles from Gettysburg.
Oh, I live in Louisiana, but I don't mind driving.
Well, that's a good drive.
Yeah.
And you have a shop there locally for anybody that does live in your area? They can come into the antique shop? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a 30,000 square foot antique store here.
Oh, wow, that's humongous.
Building dates back to 1877. It was a shoe factory.
We have some ghosts in there, too, huh?
We do.
We still have 8 people that worked here when it was a shoe factory that we channel with.
Oh,
Wow.
Did anybody die there?
Oh, I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
We have a little girl ghost that was killed here in the area. She died.
She
She
visited
died in
Nepal.
1840. But no, we're loaded with them. We got all you want.
And if somebody wanted to look up your store from the area, what's the name of the store?
Golden Lane Antique Gallery. We have
Golden Lane Antique Gallery.
Yeah,
In Pennsylvania, you said?
Yes.
It's in New Oxford.
Just 9 miles east of Gettysburg, right off of
Okay.
Route 30.
Yeah,
It's easy to find.
You can Google it. We have a website, goldenlaneantiques.com, and we have a web page or a Facebook page, Golden Lane Antiques.
Awesome. Well, if any of you guys stop in and say hello, make sure you tell them that you saw them here on Unbiased and on the Fence. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we'll take them down and let them watch the portal.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun this evening, guys. Thank you so much for inviting us.
Thank you guys so much for
Look
coming
forward
on.
to
Lots of
spending
fun.
more time with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to do, is have you come back. Maybe we can go into detail, like on each one of your books, you know, like for the whole show.
We can do hours of stories. I mean, we're living this stuff every day, so it's we accumulate a lot of information.
That'd be awesome. And it was so nice to finally get to talk to you.
Well, thanks for putting up with us.
Yeah, they're talking about some Twin Flame Divine Fires talking about that. We keep getting some weird camera glitches. Once when you mentioned Michael Jackson and you were about to channel him, and then once when you mentioned a little girl, and then right now as I just started talking, it just glitched again. I'm sure they noticed that too.
Did you see the orbs on your go by you?
No, I wouldn't be surprised though. Yeah, we have.
No, I saw them. You've had orbs on moving on through there.
That's awesome. And Sherry's in color tonight. That's awesome. Really green.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, my computer always puts me in black and white, so I don't know what happened.
Maybe they did it as a special favor to us.
Maybe.
See, when you're on the side of the big guy, things like that happen.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming.
Well,
You're welcome. It's been our pleasure.
Thank you. And thank you guys in the chat and watching this later on. Be sure you do check out our guests' links below in the description box. They go to their website, their YouTube channel, and their other website. And you can get their book that way. And we will definitely have Connie and Barry back as soon as possible.
okay, just let us know. We'll get on your calendar.
Thank you so much. Lots of love and light to all of you guys, and peace.
Back at you.
If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.